Hmm. Hi, good evening. Yeah. Hey, thanks for making the time to join the session, especially late in the night. Uh, we will quickly go through how the session works. So the first part will be hosted on YouTube Live. Sorry about that. So you could use the chat to ask questions or comment at any time. And at the end of the session, I'll share a QR code with the Google Meet link, and we'll be uh, having a practical session where we can write scripts and I can give you some feedback. And as a team, we can get some feedback as well. And all the resources, links, the software details, they'll all be provided on the web page. And the QR code is located on the right side. You might experience a slight delay on YouTube. So after each module is done, I will pause and then I will look at the chat. We'll see all the questions and I'll try my best to answer all of them. So we'll just wait in for a couple of minutes and we'll get started. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, hi Clarence, good evening. So anyone new that has joined, would you like to share your name and industry that you come from? So that way I can share more things related to your industry. Okay, we're just waiting for a few more people to join in for another 2 minutes, and then we can get started. For those of you who have joined in, it would be nice if you dropped your name and what industry you come from in the chat. Okay, let's get started. If at any time you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. And as I finish each module, I will try my best to answer your questions. Um, so by the end of the session, I'm hoping that you'll see how your surroundings and your workplace become your new film set so that you can start making videos more professionally that can be used for business. What's really special about corporate videos is that you could imagine yourself being able to tell your story 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, across countries. Because, if just like me, I'm terrible at speaking publicly and spontaneously. But when we create a video and with editing, we can put all of that in a better sequence that is more palatable and easy to consume for viewers, for your audience, for people, your clients, prospective people who would also refer you to other clients. And all this can be done in a short period of time without any filler words and long-winded stories. So, a video could really work on your sales 24 hours. Every time somebody visits your website or your social media, they can look at your video, understand what you or your business is all about, and they can get in touch with you and see if there are some synergies. And the last thing is by the end of the session, we'd really like to see how a 2 minute video can sort of close deals even before you show up and set the environment and the expectations before your one-on-one meetings. So once again, I think a couple of us are here already. Let's try and get to know each other. Please do type in your name and industry or profession that you come from in the chat box below. And that way I will know who's in the room, and I can also tailor the I can also tailor this kind of examples that are more specific to your industry. So let's quickly take an overview of the contents. We'll start first with a narrative structure for your own personal brand for yourself. Then we can move on to understand what the video life cycle is all about, from advertisements to corporate videos and training videos. And then I can give you an insight and an introduction to how corporate videos work. And after that, we'll discuss two narrative structures, one for a 30 seconds story and a longer 2 minute duration. So narrative structures are like blueprints so that you every time you have the structure, you can take any industry, any product, and use that structure to write a effective story and script for your corporate videos. Next, we'll also go through brand integration and identity guidelines, because when you work on corporate uh, creatives, most corporates are very particular on the font, the styling, the colors, the spacing, and keeping things consistent so that if any individual creates a video or a creative anywhere across the world, it looks like the same and it looks like it's part of the same company. We will then get into something exciting about a little bit about how you can shoot corporate videos on your smartphone itself if you don't have expensive equipment or you don't have the budgets or you need to create a lot of content in-house. And I'll also quickly go through the essential equipment and accessories and some of the equipment you should avoid buying online. And finally, we'll quickly just run through what editing tools are available for free. And recently, I've also been using a lot of AI tools, and they have given me a lot of leverage working with big corporates. So I will share information about some of them. I have tried heaps of AI tools, so you don't have to try them all. I'll tell you the ones that work. And lastly, we'll then jump on to a link on a Google Meet where we can see each other face to face virtually. And there we will be uh, working on a live script, a 30-second script. And then each one of you all will share your script, and then all of us can give you some feedback and inputs uh, based on your script so that you can have a live experience of putting things together. So we'll start first with our personal brand narrative. I thank you for dropping your details in the chat box. So typically, if we go through an overview, it's nice to start with a hook where you get people really excited. And a hook could be two things. It could be a big promise saying, "Hey, our solution. You could know about our solution that will reduce your cost by 30% or will make you more productive by 60%." Or it could be something like I looked at before. So, so this was a promise saying by the end of the session, you'll be able to do all these things. So that would gather interest because the first 4 seconds of your video is most important. If if somebody finds value and hangs on for the first 4 5 seconds, then they're more likely to reach the halfway point. And if they've at least watched half of your video, um, I think that you could count that as a success. So, if it comes to my introduction, I would say my name is Mark D'Souza. I specialize in creating corporate videos, and then we want to establish trust. And maybe before that, if we have a longer duration of time, I would try to place just like how you see a movie, you would see where the setting is. So I'd like to tell you that so I'm based in Malaysia, but I'm in India right now. I'm in Bangalore, and in Bangalore, it's if you're not familiar with, it's quite the IT capital. There are a lot of startups here, and they're catering to billions of people and doing business with billions of dollars. So it's very exciting to be in the city because you could throw a stone and you'd probably hit somebody who's a software engineer or who's having a startup, and and they read a lot, so it's very interesting to exchange ideas with people here. And you should definitely make a visit. The weather is beautiful. It's always almost cool. I think it should be a nice, pleasant 23, 24 degrees without humidity here. And so that's me establishing a location. And then if we go to build trust, I would tell people that I've been in this industry for 20 plus years. I manage the e-services website for Samsung, do all the creatives for them. We worked with brands like Nestle and Coke, and I'm an award-winning filmmaker. Some of my corporate films, short films, documentaries have won awards in Asia Pacific. And then we look at saying value or your services. What do you do? So, so mostly if focusing on the corporate video part of my offerings, I would tell people that corporate videos will help explain your business. So you don't have to use so many words just in a short period of time, a few seconds. They can understand what your business is about. And if you speak to most technology people, it's very difficult to understand what they do. And their stories are so boring. It, it's really difficult to pay attention, to the technology, the nomenclature, and the whole process. So that way, and the second thing is about world-class quality. I have a little typo here. Let's fix that. Right. So we've got world-class quality. So when we create world-class videos that are shown to a global audience, it builds a positive perspective in people's minds of the brand and the product. So if you do really bad quality videos, you're most likely to lose clients because they might not be able to trust you. And one of the things I offer to my clients are unlimited small changes, because what happens is when we pay for something, especially a video or a creative, we don't really know what kind of ROI we might expect. So when you make a video, and if it's not bringing you any business, it's a bit sad. So, and sometimes you need to do changes, and then we don't like to have hidden costs and small additional amounts for little things. So So my interest when I do a video for a client is to give them a really powerful script and a story, and also see that we work within a budget and we don't cross that budget, and deliver everything to them without any surprises. And this builds a good relationship. There's good trust between us, and we're really interested that the clients or their viewers are able to consume the video, and that it increases business. And sorry, there's another little typo here because I worked on my slides this morning, and we didn't go to the benefits. So what we do is when we talk about the services, they're mostly, my product does A, B, and C. And then with the benefits, we try and relate that to, because it does A, B, and C, this is why you can see benefits gained in cost reduction, you save time, you increase sales. Right? And finally, we always end with a call to action, because after people have consumed all of this, what do they do? So you could have a call to action as, request a demo or visit our site, or let's schedule a call. Or I usually use connect on WhatsApp because it's easy for people to click on a button, send me a message. Excuse me. So that's with the personal brand narrative. Does anybody have any questions? Next, let's look at the video life cycle. Now, there are different types of videos, and the video life cycle is designed as a life cycle or a route for customers to consume your content and bring in sales. So, a 30-second ad usually is really quick. It creates curiosity, it generates energy, and people want to know more about your business. And so the ads are usually on social media, or you send them on WhatsApp, or they're shared on groups. And then people have enough interest and they want to know who you are. So they check out your website or they check out your social media, and typically they will come to your website. Now on the website, you could have longer duration videos between 2 to 5 minutes. And uh, typically, when somebody comes to your website, they've also opened two, three other tabs of competitors. So here's a place where your video could tell people, establish credibility and tell people why your product would be better than your competitors and why they must work with you. And this helps them make a decision quickly without having to read the entire website, and just jump over to the closest call to action or the contact page and connect with you to discuss their problem or requirement. Similarly, to the website video, a similar format could be product explainer videos. A lot of these explainer videos are animated, but you could also do them with different medium like photography or live shoots, or stock images, where or even screen recording demos if you have a software or an app that you are trying to promote. And the product video would explain to people how your product works, what kind of benefits they would get, and end with a call to action. Now, corporate videos are a little bit longer. They would even show you things like the team, the facilities, the leadership, and mostly corporate videos are used to sell the whole organization, sometimes internally to other uh, teams that are across the world, so that they send business to this department. Or also as one-to-one meetings, it sets a good stage before they have a meeting, or at the expo they would play the corporate video first so people understand how big the company is, what kind of work they do, what kind of team they have, what kind of people and resources and experience they have within their teams. And then they can start to probably show a product explainer video and get more specific to that meeting that they have arranged. And the last set of videos could be even longer. They could be demo videos of how to use an application or an environment. It could be for recruiting. We've done videos for the whole HR post process of onboarding, of what the SOPs are when new recruits come. And these could also be interesting where you can make them like a movie. So we've done one where you have somebody from um, the team who had grown to be like an Asia Pacific director, but then he told his story about how his aspirations were as a student, and then how he came for an interview and all the rounds and the whole onboarding process, and how he experienced growth in the company. And so they would play this recruitment video at colleges, universities, job fairs, and it would be like a short film of around 10 to 15 minutes where people could envision themselves about of working in the organization and also get familiar with the onboarding process. Going to quickly check if we've got any questions. Yes. So all of you have joined newly. It'll be nice to know your name and your industry or product that you're working with. So that way, when I share examples or tell you about things, it could be more related to your industry. We'll move quickly to um, corporate videos. Now, as I had shared, corporate videos are really not fun to watch. They're a lot like documentaries. So if you ever go to a film festival and there are a lot of commercial movies and award-winning movies, and then you'll also see documentary movies, and mostly the documentary movies are so empty. You'd hardly see 5 to 6 people in that entire hall. And among them would probably be the writer and the director and the filmmaker, and just maybe two, three other people. So the thing about corporate videos are they're real, just like documentaries, but they're very specific to the industry. So it's difficult for other people, outsiders, or a public to kind of consume it because they're really dry. And the other thing about corporate videos are um, there is a selective truth. So you only talk about good, positive things about the organization. You don't talk about negative things. You don't talk about things that are not aligned to the brand. Um, so I think we call that propaganda with polish. You're always trying to make the company look good and better than it is. So even the angles you shoot, you make the place look big. With lighting, you make the the people look brighter. Uh, all you selectively take views of the best parts of the organization. If the interiors are not good, you would take them out and shoot people with beautiful environments outside, which might not be part of the organization, and so on. Uh, the interesting part about corporate videos are they can still be very emotional. They can have an emotional impact, and you can have very strong emotions, right? They might not be um, scenes from like Hindi movies and Korean drama, but there could be challenges that people have overcome. You could tell emotional stories of individuals that are very relatable to the industry. And then you also go to close-ups of people smiling and happy faces so that the audience can understand how to respond or react emotionally to that information. So for all you uh, new visitors, new viewers, I would quickly like to understand what industry you come from. If you can just drop a line in the chat box, it'll be nice to know. I see, we've got people from manufacturing, we've got retail, and we've also got insurance line. And it's interesting because we do a lot of work with manufacturing, so I will give some tips there. And even insurance, I've seen a lot of nice videos where you have testimonials that you send on WhatsApp. And we've also done some animated explainer videos. Sometimes insurance is a little bit difficult because the minute you say something like that, people don't want to talk to you. They shut the door, they hang up the phone. So we had a concept of writing a story for insurance, which was about treating your money as a bank where you put aside money and then you can take back money. But that was actually a whole structure, a whole story about how insurance works and how you could take back money when, once you have put aside enough um, as you grow older. And on top of that, you also, ensure that your family is safe and um, things like medical and such. So, do we have any questions so far? Yeah, I will check the chat box. There is a bit of lag. There'll be a few seconds of lag between me speaking and you seeing it. So, if there are any questions so far, I would love to address them. And then we will go to the narrative structure, the short narrative structure, that's 30 seconds. And we'll pay a little attention to this narrative structure because we'll be doing a practical session where you all will be using the structure to write uh, a script, and I will give you all different prompts. You can select one of those prompts and then write a script, and then you could share the script with all of us, and then we can give you feedback. So I'm going to quickly check in the comments below if there are any questions at the moment. Not as yet. So let's just go through narrative structure for 30 seconds. And I also want to share some hooks with you, which are quite interesting. Yes. So so mostly if we've got just 30 seconds and we need to break things down, um, it's really great to start with something exciting that people will want to click on or want to view more. Right, so you have your first 4 to 5 seconds with your hook. Sometimes putting a logo right in the right at the front, right at the start, would scare away people. So it's better to do something interesting. The hook could be visual, or it it could be text, it could be a voice. Um, but it's nice to put the logo at the end. Yeah, a lot of companies, corporates are always scared. If you see their highest emotion is fear when it comes to communication. They're so afraid of what people think, what people say, things are not consistent, and for that, the most important thing for them is having a big logo everywhere. And the bigger you can make the logo, the happier they are. But a lot of times, just we are so programmed when you see a video and you see a logo, and if it doesn't relate to you, you won't watch it. So, but if we could come up with interesting hooks, uh, that would generate curiosity. Things like, what if I could tell you something that would increase your business? What if you had a free sales team that would work for you 24 hours, 7 days a week? So those are interesting hooks that people would like the answer to because it sounds too good to be true. And sometimes hooks don't could be a bit misleading, like clickbait, and it's not a bad thing because it generates enough interest. And if what you say after the hook could be relevant and interesting enough, people will still consume your video and look at you in a positive perspective. So the next point is we typically, like your all your ads, you see a pain point, a challenge, see, things are getting difficult, there's AI taking over jobs, uh, there are the prices of everything are increasing, resources are increasing, and so you establish a clear problem statement in about 5 seconds. And then the next part is where you can look at your solution and you can provide benefits instead of just features, where you could combine them as feature benefit solutions, and maybe 1 to 3, three would be the maximum. How much is too much? Anything over 2 or 3 is too much, right? So typically you could have just one USP saying, this is our product, it does ABC, and it will help you with EFG. And if you would like to know more, that's a call to action. Contact us here, visit our website, schedule a demo. So that's a narrative structure, and I would love for you to look at it carefully because the next part of our session will be focused on writing these kind of short ads for your businesses, and also we can share feedback with your ads, and we'll also use some AI so that I can help you with prompts to use with ChatGPT or other um, AI softwares that you might be using, so that we can help it reduce the kind of content it writes and give you something useful for your scripts. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. Or if you'd like to know about something specifically, it'll be nice to see it there. When we go into the live session, then that would be a good time for me to answer all of them, and you can further ask questions related to them with follow-up questions I meant. So let's go into the 2-minute corporate video narrative structure. Now this is a bit um, longer, and it has time to tell a lot more than about your business or your industry. So typically these videos are internal videos, or they're controlled, like you share them with your clients. Lots of times corporate videos are kept um, what are kept behind a sort of accessibility to everyone, is not shared with the local public, because competitors take your ideas and such. So a lot of businesses also don't want to publish their corporate videos, especially the big ones. And so they're very so most of their audience are a captive audience, and that's why they would start with a nice logo animation that sets the brand, and then the credibility of how much experience they have, how many years of experience, how many centers they have across the world, how many people work for them, who their top clients are. You show all those logos. If they have certifications, ISO and other quality certifications, you showcase that. And that builds or sets up a platform or foundation of credibility. Then they go into a promise or a hook, or clearly explain the topic of what the video is about, what the product is about, what their company does, and what kind of problems they're solving. And then we get into establishing the context of the market. So if you're looking at the healthcare industry, you say, okay, the healthcare industry is fragmented. It's the process. A lot of these processes are slow. They're manual. You have to work with governments. So you establish the problem statement, the challenges, and the market context and the environment, so that when a viewer watches this video, they're able to relate. They understand that you know the problem, and they also start to relate or get into the mode where they are thinking about the challenges that are being faced in the current scenario. And then next we go into the solution part, where you talk about 2 3 uh, points about what your solution is, like a brief or an overview of your solution. And then we go into 3 to 5 key features of your product. Mostly, again, it will be good to sandwich product and solution. Sometimes you might have good visuals of the product working, a demo video, or you might have an app screenshot that you can show, where all these features are showcased in the video. And lastly, we can reiterate the same points and give people possible impacts and outcomes of using the solution or product or working with the organization. And finally, you end with a call to action and the logo animation. So one of the important things that comes to mind when we work with corporates are brand integration and identity guidelines. Now, most brands already have guidelines, but if you don't have guidelines, you're a smaller business, you're an entrepreneur yourself. It's nice to have a structure, because once you have guidelines or a structure or a blueprint, then you easily know what to choose, because every day there are so many options, so many ways about telling a story, so many things to do visually or with words, especially with AI writing things. Then it's very difficult to have or identify your voice. So mostly before getting into developing a brand, you always look at the audience, your target audience, what age group they are, what kind of language do they speak, um, what kind of vocabulary or education they might have, and then always design your communication around that. Of course, if it's an already established brand, then you want to work along with the guidelines. Meanwhile, a lot of brands do not have guidelines for video. So what happens is when they don't have guidelines and different people work on their videos, especially younger people, then you might have they might want to use the latest transitions and effects from uh, CapCut and TikTok, and it sometimes doesn't match the brand. Sometimes if your edits are so fast, they actually give you a headache, and it's difficult for a consumer to see anything, and it gives a sort of bad taste in the mouth and a negative perspective of what you do and what the brand does and the product itself. So, so what I typically do is go through the guidelines, understand, okay, what's the font we need to use, what's the font size, what kind of alignment. Sometimes they use sentence case for headlines, sometimes they use normal case, sometimes they use capitals. So we want to keep that consistent along all the creatives, not just video, but everything we do for them. And similarly, if we use transitions or we use overlays or we use colors, we want to use the right colors, select the right color codes. Now, most important of all, where this brand identity and integration comes into line is when we write scripts, because we want to use the right language, we want to have the right tone. Do we want to sound confident? Do we want to sound helpful? Do we want to sound motivational? So, and also we want to be very specific to create our guidelines, because we want to have word counts. So, like if you see, my headlines have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but there won't be too many words, because I don't want it to overlap. So I will always limit my headlines to a certain word count. Similar with the sub headlines, and then how many points I put in, right? So that's how we create guidelines, and especially when you have to put a lot of information into a video, we use these kind of guidelines. Now, the exciting part is, you can do corporate videos on your smartphone. There are a lot of demo videos done, and it's because especially when you need to do long R&D kind of projects, we need to record things for a long period of time, or you need to do them several times in a year, or when there are updates you want to document that, it becomes expensive to bring people from outside and have a shoot and pay for all that equipment, lighting, editing and such. So having a smartphone is great to do some bits of corporate videos. We do testimonials, especially for your insurance clients. If they've had a good experience, you can sort of go through a script with them roughly, try and see that they do it within 30 seconds, 1 minute, and you can shoot a nice video. You don't need, a lot of gear, lighting, assistance. You save a lot of money, and you can do a couple of takes, and it's easy for you to travel and do it when you meet them. However, it also could be, you see a lot of cell phone videos and they could turn out quite bad. I think the main reason for cell phone videos not working are, one is low light. You don't have enough light, and sometimes it's difficult to get light in places. So maybe you want to shoot during the daytime, you want to shoot in a shadow so that there's no harsh light on your subject unless you have nice clouds and it's overcast. But otherwise, you can find a nice spot with a shadow, a good background, and keep the camera quite close so that you don't catch too much of unwanted sound. And the other thing is, I also see angles, right? People get a little bit confused with angles. Sometimes you're shooting horizontally, sometimes shooting vertically, sometimes you're shooting low, up, down. You're cropping them at different places. So we'll get into it in a bit. What I love about shooting video on smartphone, it's also not overwhelming. People don't get afraid. You're not so scared. They don't very big equipment around them. Sometimes they freeze, and it's a little bit difficult for them to share what they have in mind. So I'm going through only the most important things. So each point might have like 2 to 3 um, sort of angles or views. So mostly we use wider shots to establish a location. You want to show your factory, or you want to show your organization, you want to show your workplace. So then you might use a wider angle to establish all of that. But as you start getting personal, more motivational, more emotional, you start to come closer, you get more personal, and it becomes more intense. So when you want more emotion, you push even closer. So I think if you look at these two main points, and the third thing is, of course, if you can get a rig, or if you can sort of get a tripod and keep your shot stable, that helps a lot. It doesn't give people a headache, doesn't seem like Blair Witch Project when they watch your video. I'd like to quickly share something about the 180-degree rule that a lot of people miss when they shoot video. It'll take a few minutes.
Looking at a top-down view of the characters facing each other. We have these two guys looking directly at each other. The line of action will be right down the center of them, like so. And say we want to get 3 setups for this coverage, a wide and a single of each. If we place our wide shot here, we are creating a 180 on that side of the line. So when we come to our singles, we will keep both of those on this side of the line, not crossing the line over here. So when we watch these shots back, everything makes sense and is in its logical place. But if we were to move those 2 singles across the line, when we move from the wide to those singles, it's going to appear as though they switch sides on us. Which this one's a little bit more subtle. You could possibly get away with it, but let's say we just go with 2 singles, no wide. We place our first shot here over the character's right shoulder, creating our 180 on this side. When we switch over to our reverse angle of the other character, we're going to want to keep the camera on that side of the line. So as we cut between them, it appears that both of them are looking at each other. If we do the opposite and place the second shot on the other side of the line, once we cut it together, it's going to look like both characters are looking off in the same direction and not at each other. Another thing that this is going to help with is screen direction. A good example of this is going to be a character leaving his house. If the character leaves and goes from right to left, when I cut to another street shot, subconsciously, if I'm showing right to left, you know that that character is going farther away from his house. But when I shift that and have him going from left to right, I can insinuate to my audience that my character is traveling back to his house. I also use this idea in my short film Proximity. As the lead character runs to face the villain, I had the villain always traveling from right to left and the hero always traveling from left to right. So you could clearly tell that these two forces were headed straight.
Right. So yeah, if you have more questions about 180-degree rule, we could discuss that later. But typically, the idea is whoever's on the left, you always keep them to the left, whether you're far, doing a wide shot, or you're shooting something closer. And who's on the right, you always keep them to the right. When you start mixing them up, then it becomes confusing and disorienting for the audience to consume. So I quickly want to go through some of our equipment. If you see any of these small LED lights, do not buy them. They're extremely harsh, they're close to your face, and they're not really great for corporate videos. I will research and upload links that are better especially for, once I get to know your use cases, I will share those links with you of what kind of equipment, what kind of lighting is good for your use case. But in most cases, these lights are quite useless. You'll have to bring them really close to the subject, and then they will bring out blotches on their face. Because how light works is if the closer you bring the light, the harsher it is, the shadows are darker and uh, and sharper. But the farther you keep the light, it becomes more soft. Um, but then if you put a diffusion or you have something soft that's diffusing the light, then you can bring it closer. But if it's like a point source, and then you keep it far away, it's going to be quite harsh. One thing I quickly want to tell, because people really don't understand sometimes what's the difference between one of those big super sensor cameras and then your iPhone or any other smartphone camera, is the sensor size is really tiny. And this is why it works more like a pinhole camera, and everything is sharp and in focus. And mostly the bright images we see in our phone cameras are because of AI. So they're all these little pixels are manipulated digitally and made to look brighter. But the sensor captures a really grainy, noisy, poor quality image. And most of the good quality we get is because of the AI that works within your phones. Now, also because of that, the footage doesn't look so natural, and especially when you want to blow it up on a big projector or see it on a big screen TV, you will see the quality sometimes is not usable. And these are times that you want to hire a professional if you're planning to use your footage on bigger screens for big events. Your cell phone footage will not look good when you blow it up. And this is also why we need more light when we shoot with smartphone cameras. So shooting during the day in a shadow area and when it's bright outside would give you possibly give you good lighting. Or if you could get a nice diffused soft light from the windows um, falling on your subject, that would also give you beautiful lighting. Um, Audio is a very important component. So especially when you do voice of the people videos, you interview people on the street, or you've got machines in the background and they're very noisy, then it's good to have a microphone close to your subject so that it captures better audio and less noise around. You also get more professional equipment. If you have an older camera a phone that you plan to shoot with, then it's really nice to have a wired connection with a jack. Those are most safe. Sometimes Bluetooth might or might not give you good quality, or might get disconnected in between. So those are some fears we work with, and because of that, sometimes you would have another small device to or a recorder or a boom mic to record audio, and then editing in case your audio is too bad, you can replace that better quality audio there. I will research and share links based on our working session. For editing, a lot of people want to know what softwares to use. I'd say for most of your work, if you're doing those tutorials on YouTube and learning to edit on it, there is a cut page which is a similar page or a simpler workflow just for editing without any of the advanced features and color correcting and such. And it's free. And then even I've explored Blender is mostly a 3D software, it's free, of course. And then there are beautiful movies made in 3D on Blender, but it also has a video editing software. And what's exciting about Blender is when I tested it out, it even works on really old computers. So if you don't have the latest computer and you need to edit something, uh, Blender could be a very good option for you. However, its editing uh, what do you say, features are not as professional as Resolve or Premiere. Premiere comes with the Adobe Suite. Uh, you could, if you have a student, or you could register as a student. It's not that expensive, maybe around 30 or 40 ringgit a month, but you have to subscribe for the entire year. Um, But Premiere has a whole suite of tools, so if you're really professionally into editing, then that's the best option. Uh, the other way, if sometimes you cannot shoot video, you don't have the people to shoot it, and you still have a very good, strong message and a story, you could take stock footage and do edits. So I would like to share a sample of that. So just by taking free stock footage from the net and having good video editing skills or hiring an editor, you could also look at getting your videos out there and being able to tell your story. Now, coming to the AI tools, I'm very excited about that, and we can, for those of you who can stay awake, we can in the next half an hour, 45 minutes, we can look at, uh, some of the tools I used. Why I'm excited is, well, recently about three projects, I got them only because I specialize in AI, and a lot of my competitors don't. So we were able to do a TV commercial using AI generated images. Then we had live portrait. That's a software that you can sort of map my actions to a photograph, and we made those AI images move and react and have emotions. And then we also have 11 labs. I do all my voiceovers there. They're quite good. They're really good. You get a couple of free tokens, and if you need more, you can subscribe for about $10 a month. And then you have Suno Music that generates music in the style that you want. You say motivational, you want classical, you want hip hop, you want fast paced. It'll generate an original track for you from AI. On the paid visual to create visuals and videos, you have Midjourney. I've used Midjourney for a long time, and now I've moved on from Midjourney, but it's a very good starting place for your business or your company, your marketing. You need to create a lot of images. You can use Midjourney. But what's exciting today is that you can even use ChatGPT to create um, images for your business. And yeah. So, what I'd like to quickly do is, before the NTW 2025, we need to track attendance. If you could scan this QR code and complete the will ensure that you receive your certification. I will keep this on for probably 30 seconds, but if you didn't find the form, I can share it with you later again. This is for those who attended the session. They would like to track that and share a certificate with you. Yeah, please do confirm, once you have done that on the chat. Okay, thanks for staying with me so far. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box, and very happily answer your questions. I'll try my best. And finally, I will keep the link open for us to connect on Google Meet. So everyone who is interested to do the live session, please feel free to join the link, and I will see you there. Hey, hi everyone. Yeah, so it'll be nice to see you all if possible. If not, no worries. Um, Maybe I'll give another 1 or 2 minutes for people to join in. Please do mute yourself when you are not talking so that we don't get an echo. And I'll try and share my screen. Um, Start with our working session. So I need to find my working session file. Hey, so everyone who's in, can we have a small round of introductions? Since it's late, we don't have to do the video. We can do just a voice. It would be nice to have a short introduction, your name, what you do, and probably one or two points about your business. And if you have any requests, you want to connect with somebody, you want to network, then you can end with your request as a call to action. um, will anybody like to go first? Yeah, Okay, shall I start calling names then?
Maybe I can go first.
Okay, that'll be great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that'll be great.
Okay, so you're asking my name and my field, right?
Yes, so you can give a quick introduction about your name,
Okay.
what you do, um, maybe one USP of what's good about your service or product or work. And if you do have any requests, like you'd want to collaborate with somebody, or you're looking to connect with someone, or you want help with someone, or you have a question, you can end with a call to action.
Okay, sure. So, hi everyone, my name is Hazima. So, my field is actually retail training. So, we do conduct trainings not only for retailers but also for corporate clients. So, a little bit what we do. Maybe if you guys are searching for any trainings, you can just contact me. So, yeah, this is a short one.
Okay, thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, so if anybody is looking for things related to the training industry, please connect with Hasima. Uh, who would like to go next? Yeah. Um, yeah, so shall I start? Maybe there is only a few of us here, and would anybody like to introduce your, what you do and tell us a little bit about your business? Um, okay, very well. Um, okay, so everyone able to hear me clearly? If not, like you could drop a line on the chat below. I'm going to close. Great, thank you so much. I'm going to close our YouTube live session. If you can give me a second.